control accounts here for ordinary level, and we have question 3 from page 91 of the textbook. So what they've got here is they've mixed debtors and creditors together, so we need to separate them. That's the first thing we'll do with every transaction. Decide, is it debtors or creditors? And then we decide, do those people owe more or less? So if it's creditors, do we owe more to those people? Debtors, do they owe more to us? And the debit and credit, then we'll talk about that as we go through it. So first, like pretty much every question that you're going to do in the Leaving Cert, we start off by laying out the blank document that we're going to fill in with numbers. So we've got a debtors control account, creditors control account. So we're expecting debtors will have a balance on the debit side and creditors will have a balance on the credit side. So there's the first two numbers. So debtors balance is 37,980 and the creditors balance is 73,680. Okay. Then, with each of the following transactions, what we need to do is we need to decide, is it, first question, is it to do with debtors or creditors? Second question, is it a plus or minus? So sales. Well, sales, we sell goods to people, so those people owe us more money, so that's to do with debtors. So I'm going to be putting that in here somewhere. The debit side is the plus side, meaning those debtors owe me more. Credit side is the minus side, they owe me less. We have this from the bookkeeping key because debtors are an asset account. So if I just put that up there, and because it's an asset account, the debit side is the plus side. The creditors is a liability account. So the plus side is on the credit side according to our bookkeeping key. So if I owe my creditors more, it'll be on the credit side. If I owe them less, it'll be on the debit side. So back to this. So sales, well, that's to do with debtors, and if we sell goods to them, they owe me more money, so that will be on the plus side, and the amount of money is 89,200. Credit purchases, so when we buy goods, we owe more money, so that's a plus in creditors. That's to do with creditors. And it's 71,066. Returns inwards. So if you imagine that we have a warehouse, so these are goods coming back into the warehouse, so there must have been goods that we sold, so that's to do with debtors. So we would have sold goods to these people and they've sent the goods back into our warehouse, so they owe less money now when they send back goods. And the amount of money is 244. And then we return outwards is going to be the same thing for creditors. So these are people that we have to send goods back out of our warehouse to them. We would have bought those goods from them in the first place. Discount allowed. So these are people who we have allowed to pay less money, so they owe us less. So those people are creditors. So discount allowed, debtors. So they're people that owe us money normally. We're letting them off money. So we are allowing them to pay less money, and the amount of money is 155. Discount received is 90, so that's the same thing. So this is less money. We're getting discount. We owe less money to these people, and those people are the creditors, people who would have bought goods in the first place. So interest charged by Cooney on overdue accounts. Now at the top of the question it says this is Cooney Limited, so we are Cooney, so Cooney owes less money. Is owed more money by people who are overdue, so we're charging more money, so it's going to be a plus, and those people who owe us money are debtors, so that's going to be on the plus side of debtors, so we call it interest. Amount of money is 67. Checks received from customers, so customers are debtors, people who owe us money. Okay, if they give us a check, that means that they owe us less money. Okay, so we'll call that bank, or you could call it checks, it's not a problem. 48,800. Cash paid to creditors, so this is the same story. So creditors, so this has to do with creditors, and if I pay them cash, I owe them less money. So cash paid to creditors, 67,070. Next, bad debts written off. So bad debt is where somebody who owed us money should have paid money but haven't, and they've gone bankrupt, and we're never going to get the money. So we have to cancel the debt. Okay. Normally we cancel debt when somebody pays. But in this case, somebody is never going to pay, so we just have to say, forget it. We're never going to receive the money, so we're going to take that away. So bad debts are to do with people who owe us money, so debtors, and we're going to cancel those, so that will be on the minus side. So 170 goes there, and we'll call it bad debts. Next, checks received dishonored. So that means some checks that we got, which would have been included in this bank figure here, they bounced, which means that that person didn't have enough money in the account, so the bank refused to honor the check. So we have to reinstate the debt. So that's on the plus side. So those people now owe us more money again. I'm just going to say this. Okay. The amount is 950. Discount disallowed to Cooney. So this is discount that was allowed to me. So the people who would be allowing me off money are creditors, and they have changed their mind or decided they're not going to give me a discount that I thought I was giving. So some of the discount that I received here of 90, some of it has been cancelled, so it has to be reinstated, the amount of money we now do owe it. And it's disallowed to Cooney. Now, if it said disallowed by Cooney, it means it would be to do with debtors. So there would be a plus on debtors. So it's 55. Next, transfer for debtors ledger to a creditors ledger. Now, this is normally called a Contra entry. So Contra, and the rule for Contra is it always reduces. Now, basically what that means is some of my debtors, people who owe me money, I maybe buy goods from them as well, so I owe them money. So let's say I buy €1,000 worth of goods from somebody, and that person, I've sold them €20,000 worth of goods, so I'll just subtract the 1,000 I owe them from the 20,000 they owe me. So that's how a contra works. So it's a minus in both cases. So I'll have a minus in here, we'll call it contra, and I'll have a minus in here, and the amount of money is 2,500. And just double check now that the amount right. Yes, I do. Okay. Bills payable accepted. So this is where I sign a legal document, and IOU is the traditional slang name for it. So I sign a document saying I promise to pay you the money, but I'm not paying you now, but I will pay you a specific date in the future. Let's say I know I'm going to have the money in 3 months' time, so I will pay you now. It's treated the same as if I was actually, that the payment is made, even though I'm not giving them the cash now. The reason being that this piece of paper, this IOU, legally in court, if I don't pay, the judge will order the person to come to my house and take some of my private possessions to cover that. So it's the same as if I was paying. Now, we have bills payable and bills receivable. A bill receivable would be to do with debtors, because I'm going to receive that money in the future. Bills payable to do creditors, because I'm going to pay the money in the future. And it's the same as if the debt was already paid, so it's a minus for the debt. So we'll have bills payable. Next, debtors ledger credit balance. So this means that there are some people who I owe a refund to, and there are some creditors that they owe me a refund. So debtors, I owe them a refund. Or creditors, they owe me a refund. So that means that once I've balanced my account, I'll have a balance BD on the debit side in creditors, as well as the normal balance that I expect to have on the credit side. And then we have the same for debtors. Now, so that means that I will owe a large amount of money to my creditors here, but there is some money is going to be subtracted, it's going to be taken away as a refund that is owed to me. So I'll put in so I'll have two balanced CDs here. So the normal one, which is the one I expect when I add up the two sides and find the difference, and then this one, which is the refund is due to me. So we know that we will have 995 there on creditors, which means we must have 995 on the credit side above the total. So now when I come to do my totaling here, I'll add everything up. So I'm adding everything in this column here. Okay, and that gives me my total. I'll have the same total over here. This is just a normal balancing process. And then I'll have whatever the total is minus all of the other figures that we have there added together. So that's my balance, okay? This is the amount of money I owe my creditors, but here I'm showing that I have a refund that will be owed to me. I'm going to do something similar now with my debtors. So I'll have a refund that I owe to somebody else, to one of my customers. I've got to give them back money. So that's 850, which means I must have 850 here as a balance CD for that refund. And now I'll do what I would normally do. I'll add everything up. So we normally have 850. Yeah, that's grand. So I'll add everything here now. So this is my normal balancing process. And then I'll have my total from the big side minus all of the other numbers that we have here on the credit side to find the difference between the two sides, taking into account that refund that I have to give to my customers. So that's the basis of how to do question 3, an ordinary level account.